Chinese ambassador to Canada basically released an op-ed saying the arrest of Meng Wanzhou was white supremacy. Which brings us to Jagmeet Singh, the man who started his campaign with a Jag meet and greet, which was held in the wrong riding, was probably the high point of his political career. I will make the case that this Jagmeet Singh interview you're about to see is completely outrageous. It is worse than anything Justin Trudeau has ever said. It makes him dumber than Justin Trudeau. By the way, the baseline for Justin Trudeau that I'm going to use will be this clip. This is what I'm using for Justin Trudeau's baseline clip. And I'm going to say Jagmeet Singh was worse than this.
We import more steel than the Americans import. We have a significant trade surplus. The Americans have a significant trade surplus with us on steel, which means we buy steel from them, they buy steel from us.
Yes, that. I am using that, and I'm going to say that this Jagmeet Singh clip is going to be better. But first, I have to break it down. It's a 2-minute video, and he gives 3 responses to this question. He has to have 3 tries. I'm going to make the argument that the first try is his best answer, okay? And it's on par with that Justin Trudeau clip. I'm going to say those 2 are equal, attempt 1. Number 2 is the absolute worst thing a Canadian politician has ever said on TV, and 3 is better than 2, but worse than 1. Okay, so now roll the 2-minute clip. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing.
Let me just quickly talk about China, which is another big issue. This past week, the Chinese ambassador to Canada put out an editorial that accused Canada of having a double standard. They've detained 2 Canadians after Canada detained one of the business executives from Huawei, as you know, in Vancouver. But the ambassador from China accused Canada of, quote, white supremacy. If you were the Prime Minister, what would you say to the Chinese right now?
Sorry, who accused who of white supremacy?
The ambassador from China to Canada wrote an editorial, and he said there's a double standard between Canada's enforcement of the rule of law, and there's 2 Canadians, as you well know, detained. And he called Canada using white supremacy to enforce the rule of law. You're the Prime Minister. You got to respond to that. What's the response?
I don't know if there's any evidence of that suggestion. I know that there is a very important role that Canada plays in supporting the rule of law. There are concerns that folks legitimately are raising about the Trump administration and suggestions that the Trump administration is going to use arrests as a political tool in negotiations for trade, which is completely unacceptable and wrong. That should never happen. But the rule of law should be followed. It's something that we need to be partners with internationally to make sure that there is a reliable system that we know we can depend on, and that's what we have to follow.
Sir, I know you're criticizing the Trump administration, but China's detained 2 Canadians. I just wonder if you got your eye on the ball here. We've got 2 Canadians detained in China. What's your view on China, not on Trump?
Right. So with China's detention of Canadians, again, that is deeply concerning. We need to make sure that anyone that's being detained is being done. It's being done in an appropriate manner. It's being done in the right manner. There's actually a full due process. Laws are being followed, and their protection is paramount. We're concerned right now with the detention of Canadians in China. That is something that all Canadians are concerned with, and we want to see our country make sure that those folks are safe and that they're returned safely, and that the detention is being done not as a backlash to Canada following the rule of law.
Okay, that was the worst thing. Now, if you suffered an aneurysm like I did the first time I saw that, call 911. If you have watched the last 5 minutes of this show, it is now official that you know more about Canadian foreign policy than Jagmeet Singh. Hell, if you even look at a picture of China, you know more about Canadian politics than Jagmeet Singh. See? China. It right there. You are now qualified to lead the NDP. Congratulations, you just lost 15 IQ points if you join the NDP. So, we have to break this one down, because I said that Justin Trudeau clip was smarter, and I full on believe it. This is not sarcasm, although I'm kind of prone to the thing. The first response was Evan Solomon explained, okay, the Chinese ambassador to Canada called Canada's arrest of Meng Wanzhou white supremacist. You're the Prime Minister, what do you say? White supremacy. It was like, white supremacy, like brain went 110 miles an hour and then shut down. Who called who white supremacist? Evan Solomon then had to reassess. And that's the best answer he gave. By far the best answer he gave. He should have left it there. And that's what people jumped on. But it got so much worse. The second answer was just, well, I don't know if we have any evidence of that. Okay, let's stop that right there. I don't know. You're supposed to lead Canada and you don't know if we're a white supremacist country because we acted on an international arrest warrant for someone who's sanctioned busting? You don't know? You can't just say, oh, Canada's... You have a law degree, Jagmeet. Jagmeet, you're a lawyer. How is it? Is that a degree in white supremacy? You idiot. But it got so much worse. Then he goes on and says, what was the phrasing? I can't remember the exact phraseology, but it was something along the lines of, let me see. There are concerns that folks are legitimately raising about the Trump administration. That the Trump administration, he basically accused the Trump administration of making arrests of foreign nationals to further their trade positions. Hello, Earth to Jagmeet, that's what the Chinese are doing to Canada. 1, that is an unhinged conspiracy theory. 2, he called it legitimate. 3, he's bashing Trump when he just emulated the worst of Trump. As I say, Trump has a problem with oversighting the scientific journal known as Many People Have Been Telling Me. There's some folks who've been raising legitimate concerns about the Trump administration, blah, 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 blah. You accused our greatest ally. Okay, if you're prime minister, you're in a spat with China, the second largest economy in the world. Then, your response to the Chinese problem is you take our closest ally and the number 1 economy in the world and you throw them under the bus, accusing them of doing to someone what the Chinese are doing to us right now, you idiot. You absolute moron. I don't know if that's white supremacy. Dummy. Okay, then Evan Solomon, God bless him, basically sensed my anger, was my spirit animal on CTV there, and basically said, hello, Jagmeet, you're accusing Trump of that. That's what China's doing to us right now. And then he made some noises and he was like, oh, well, we don't know. And then as long as they're following the law and we follow the law, I hope they follow the law. So the noises are I just want to hit on the statement, as long as China follows the law. And here is the biggest problem with the left in the modern era. The biggest problem with the modern left was articulated by Jagmeet's third and final response to this question. They're following the law and we hope they follow the law. The Chinese law is illegitimate compared to the Canadian law. And that's a problem, is cultural relativism. The left cannot say one culture is better than the other on this objective variable because you have to make the case that Canadian law is more valid than Chinese law because ours is logically and ethically more sound than theirs. The law in China is the government says you're guilty, therefore you're guilty. So that means those Canadians, by Chinese law, are guilty. They follow the law. You have to say their law is illegitimate because it's tyrannical. And our law is legitimate because it's constitutionally based and there's a balance of power between the citizenry and the government. But because he could not say that, because all cultures are equal, we get nonsense like this. It's absolute nonsense. It is the worst 2 minutes in Canadian political history. Thank you, Jagmeet Singh, for making Justin Trudeau look like a competent individual by comparison.